A new report has raised alarm over rising gender-related killings in Nigeria, describing femicide as a growing national emergency. According to the DOHS Cares Foundation, at least 197 women and girls were killed in suspected gender-related violence between January and December 2025. That figure marks a sharp increase from 133 deaths recorded in 2024. The foundation documented 172 femicide cases, noting that some incidents involved multiple victims, including women killed alongside their children. UN Women defines femicide as the intentional killing of women and girls because of their gender. It says its data shows women are killed in Nigeria roughly every 49 hours, often by people they know. The group is calling for legal recognition of femicide, a national tracking system, and urgent reforms to protect women's lives as public outrage continues to grow. Now, joining us live for more on this conversation are Aderonke Olisa. She's a gender rights advocate, and also Gladys Emmanuel, a gender advocate herself and lawyer, both in Abuja. Ladies, thank you very much for joining us for the 12 o'clock bulletin here to discuss this. You're welcome. Let me start with Aderonke. Aderonke, now, the numbers jumped from 133 deaths in 2024 to 195, or rather 197 in 2025. What exactly is failing? Is it our laws, is it enforcement, or is it just political will?
Thank you so much for inviting me. I would like to say that all three are actually failing, but most importantly, the political will and then the enforcement. We see that it's much to say that there are laws like the VAP Act, but talk is cheap. Having law is cheap when it is not being implemented. And so we see cases where there is no enforcement of these laws. These are weak links that don't allow victims to get justice, which are women and girls in this case. And we know that when this continues, if there is no conviction, then violence will definitely continue. So these three points, the enforcement, the laws, and then the prosecution, they are actually weak in the way they operate. There is no strict abiding of the laws. And so you see when a person comes into the court case, most of the time the police dismiss the case, they call it family issues, go and settle it out with your family, and then the perpetrators go free. So these are the issues that needs to be tackled. All three are actually weak.
Aderonke, thanks for raising that, because only just 2 weeks ago there was a case in Kano of a young man who actually killed 6 persons. He was related to, one of them was his aunt, if I'm not mistaken. He was also related to another case from before where it was a different person who had died and he was also involved. So Gladys, let me come to you on this one. The wave of femicide is being described as a pandemic. If this was any other disease, there would have been declared an emergency. Why hasn't gender-based killings triggered that same response in Nigeria now? Gladys?
So thank you very much for inviting me. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Yes. So take for instance, just like you rightly mentioned, if we wake up one morning and find out that about 900 citizens of Nigeria have died from a strange ailment, you are very correct when we say we would have things like closed door meetings, committees will be set up, we'll be reviewing our laws, we'll be looking at strategies to be able to address this. However, we have not had that kind of reaction when it comes to femicide or gender-based violence, and that is because of the normalization of violence against women. Now, if we look extensively at Section 33 of the 1999 Constitution of Federal Republic of Nigeria as amended, it talks about our right to life. If we also look at the Maputo Protocol, of which Nigeria is a signatory to, it also confers on state parties such as Nigeria, the obligation to be able to protect women from all forms of harm or violence. But now, by refusing expressly to declare a state of emergency on issues of gender-based violence or even issues of femicide as a whole, it invariably states that we do not see femicide as an issue that is that serious. We also need to stop treating issues of women's rights as a domestic matter. We need to look at femicide now as a matter of national security. It is a threat to national security, because if half of your population in a nation is being threatened by a particular form of gender-based violence or gender-based violence as a whole, then we need to stand back and look at this holistically. Because, I mean, women continue to lose their lives daily, whether from an intimate partner, whether from boarding a cab and then they're being thrown out through the one chance syndicate, or whether from various cultural means or cultural norms that continue to support and fuel femicide. So we have normalized violence against women. So the first thing is we need to disabuse our minds that violence against women is not a family matter. Neither is it a matter that should be settled within the confines of the home. It needs to move from being called a family matter to a point where we are now asking for criminal prosecution of perpetrators.
Gladys, what does it say, the origin of these threats? Most of them seem to be from people that they know. It seems to be from relatives or even one's home. What does this say about the situation in Nigeria? Gladys?
So right now, it's quite unfortunate that we usually used to say the home is the safest place for women and girls. But right now, the home has become a private battlefield for some women and girls. In fact, we continue to see where power, where control, where coercion is being enforced, leveraging violence. So all of these are deeply rooted in patriarchal norms that tend to view women as properties rather than individuals with rights. We must treat domestic violence, like I mentioned, not as family matter, not as one that should be settled within the confines of the home, or should be settled at community palaces, but it is one that should be escalated to the relevant agencies. When we start to whittle down the severity of femicide or gender-based violence, what we have done is we've given a license to perpetrators, whether the perpetrator is a family member, an intimate partner, or just a total stranger. We have given them a license. We have emboldened them to continue to perpetrate this form of violence. So we need to move from family mediation and now move to the standpoint of criminal prosecution. And most of the times, the excuse that's been given is we need to protect the honor of the family, we need to protect the name of the family, we need to protect the integrity of the family. But again, we must recognize that any form of privacy that tends to shield human rights violation is no privacy at all.
Okay, then. So
if someone is telling you go settle it at home, that is a form of human rights violation.
All right.
Yes.
Aderonke, Olisa, you're still with us. I wanted to know from you, now it's been found out that the cases involving teenage girls point to long-term abuse even before their killings. What early warning signs are being ignored here? Who should be held responsible for that silence?
Okay, so like the conversation has been going on the fact that the justice system is actually, for me, to be blamed. Because once there is no prosecution, there is no conviction, it has given license to perpetrators to continue. There is no example that is being made for other perpetrators to know that if you do this, this is what is going to happen to you. And you asked about the warning signs. We have warning signs of repeated harm to the girls, especially for girls. If you remember, there was an issue of a girl, I can't remember where it is now, where she reported her uncle, to the police about the fact that he repeatedly harmed her and sexually assaulted her. But the case was dismissed. And then this girl, after all she did, she ran away from the uncle. The man found her and killed her. The community failed her. The justice system failed her. So we have these signs around us. The femicide doesn't just happen, but there is always controlling behavior, isolation, girls not wanting to go to school, girls trying to avoid certain places, certain people. And some of these girls speak up. But because feminicide, gender-based violence generally has not been taken up as a national matter, it's taken as a social issue, not an issue that affects national interest. So the victims are told to go home, settle out, and then they are eventually killed. And that's why we see it on social media, and then we start seeing all the efforts the women or the girls have made to actually speak up, you know. So these are the things. We have these signs around us every time, but we dismiss it. So our justice system is to be blamed. If 1, 2, 3 persons are made example, there was a time that it was proposed that they should be castrated, perpetrators should be castrated, and I voted for it because
there was such a time.
Once something like that happens, the next victim will say, the next perpetrator will say, "Oh, I don't want that to happen to me," and then they will desist. But our justice system is slow. Cases are not, evidences are not handled properly, and a whole lot of other that discourages victims, you know, that even wants to speak out. So once our justice system is in place, we see prosecution go well, we see conviction go well, then it will be a deterrent to other perpetrators.
Okay, then, Aderonke. Gladys, real quick in summary, please, what is the way forward? What reforms need to happen? Unfortunately, I think we've lost Gladys. Aderonke, if you take that so we can sum this up, what reforms need to happen?
For me, I'll say 3 things. First, the government needs to declare feminicide an issue of national emergency. Just like if any public health issue, threat comes into the country, the government needs to declare it as an issue of national emergency. The second thing is that they need to train GBV police officers. They should create a GBV police unit and train officers that can handle GBV cases specially. It's not everyone that can handle it, because most of the issues we see is mishandling of evidences, and then the long case and all of that. So the government needs to have specialized GBV units, officers that are trained to handle this kind of issues. Then the third thing is that there needs to be a mandatory nationwide feminicide data tracking so that we can track what is happening. Right now, feminicide is highly underreported, and if we don't have that database, we cannot track what exactly is happening, and then we'll not even know how to respond adequately to it. So these are the 3 things I think the government can do right now going forward.
Thank you very much, Aderonke, and also would like to say thank you to Gladys. Gladys. Oh, you're back. Oh, she isn't. But thank you, ladies. Thank you very much.